Hey guys, Ben here and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about the brand new breaking news that Darkseid is joining a TV show that James Gunn has just announced. So stick around throughout this entire video to get all the news. Hey guys, Ben here and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about the brand new breaking news that Darkseid is joining a TV show that James Gunn has just announced. So stick around throughout this entire video to get all the news. So if you do go on to enjoy the video, please be sure to leave a like and a comment and subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future videos later this year. Okay, so we are back. We're going to be uploading more regularly as of now. We've had some big news in the last couple of days. There is a new Wonder Woman film being produced, and we got a brand new TV show that was just announced today that we're going to be breaking down in this video. Also, there is a bunch of new Superman footage that is out there. As we approach the middle of June, obviously Superman is coming out within the first couple of weeks of July, so that's a big focus for DC right now. So quite honestly, I'm quite surprised that we're getting all this other news. But in today's video, we need to break down the announcement that DC Studios is going to be introducing a Mister Miracle animated series. And this show is going to be based on the Eisner Award-winning comic book series from writer Tom King and artist Mitch Gerads. Now, this is a huge deal because this kind of brings in another side of the DC universe, the kind of more cosmic side that we're going to probably be introduced to in Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, because it's mainly set in space. And you're going to see a bunch of different alien races, and you're going to see a ton of different planets like red suns as well as yellow suns. And this TV show could be huge because it will be introducing some huge DC characters. However, I must mention this is one of the adult orientated animated series that DC is working on, and we've had an announcement for like a bunch of them, like My Adventures with Green Lantern. Also, there was a couple of other ones like Starfire, but that was actually announced that is not part of the DCU. Like, there are other separate Elseworlds projects, and this could potentially be an Elseworlds project, and it hasn't been officially confirmed yet, but we're going to be breaking down a Deadline article that basically tells us everything we need to know about this new show. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into this. So, Mister Miracle is coming from Warner Brothers Animation and DC Studios, who are taking the next step on their animated journey with a TV version of the Mister Miracle comic book series. So DC, Warner Brothers, they're going big with this animation game, like they're taking it proper serious. So Tom King, who wrote the Mister Miracle comics, is showrunning and executive producing this one. So we know Tom King has been working on some various projects. He obviously wrote Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow in the comics. He was some sort of liaison on that, and then also he's been a big part of creating the new Lantern show. So he is a big guy over at DC right now, and so he's going to be showrunning this show and executive producing it, which is in production right now, which is actually a big deal. So this is something that they're currently working on, but they go on to state the network remains to be decided, whether it's on like Max or some other network that Warner Brothers has relation to. So the show comes after James Gunn's Creature Commandos, which is currently in production on its second season for HBO Max. So again, they're going big on animation, like they're already starting season 2 of that show. And no details were given on the voice cast right now as of today for the Mister Miracle series. But Mister Miracle, which Warner said would tell the odyssey of the main character Scott Free, aka Mister Miracle, is based on the critically acclaimed and Eisner award-winning 12-issue comic book series, which obviously you guys can go ahead and read. It's probably some good research before this project actually comes out. And so this is what the logline had to say about Mister Miracle. So no prison can hold him, no trap can contain him. He is scot-free, the worldwide celebrity sensation known as Mister Miracle, and he is the greatest escape artist who ever lived. But can he pull off the ultimate trip and escape death itself? So the logline goes on to say that the show begins with something gone horribly wrong with the perfect life that Scott and his warrior wife, Big Barda, have built for themselves on Earth. And actually, it does make sense why this was all announced, because apparently it was Annecy yesterday, and there was quite a bit of news that dropped, so that kind of all makes sense. So yeah, that is what this project is all about. I'm going to give you guys a bit of a brief rundown of the Mister Miracle series. I've got a synopsis that I'm going to read and give you some bits and bobs about what to expect. So apparently it's quite a modern psychological take on Jack Kirby's original New Gods characters. Obviously the main characters being Mister Miracle, Big Barda, and potentially Darkseid, which we'll talk about in just a minute. But the story basically follows Scott Free, aka Mister Miracle, who is an escape artist who survives a suicide attempt in the opening pages. And from that moment on, reality itself becomes quite questionable, with Scott seemingly unmoored in a surreal world that he can't tell if he's alive, dead, or trapped in some illusion. And so Scott actually struggles with his mental health, and he is pulled back into the war between New Genesis and Apocalypse. Obviously Apocalypse is where Darkseid is, New Genesis is where the New Gods are, and so these are the two worlds that Jack Kirby created in his Fourth World saga. And basically him and his wife, they have to figure out how to balance, you know, the cosmic conflict between these two worlds and also be a parent at the same time. So throughout the series, basically they have to grapple with a lot of different things, and it's not a super light series because in the comics he has to deal with the trauma of his childhood because he was a hostage of Darkseid. Obviously Darkseid will appear, and that's something that's going to bring up a lot of those memories, but he's also dealing with the possibility that he's living in some sort of like fake or false reality. And talking of Darkseid, he has to kind of deal with the whole Darkseid is theme throughout the entire story, which is just crazy. We'll talk more about that in just a second. But yeah, this is definitely a kind of adult orientated series, as they were teasing. Is something that got a lot of respect when it came out, and I think people really like this story. And despite being set in space mainly, it is very humane, and I think that is what people like. They like the way that it kind of deals with depression, kind of trauma, abuse, and, you know, domestic life, but also having that cosmic edge to it. But now let's get into the dark side of it all. So throughout the comic book series, Darkseid is a phrase that appears many times. Like kind of near the start, we talked about his attempt at killing himself, but basically the artwork actually becomes distorted. It seems a bit off, and out of nowhere, Darkseid appears on a blank black panel in the middle of this comic book, like with no context, just completely out of nowhere. It's just literally a line, a phrase, a motif that is put in the middle of a scene that obviously doesn't make a lot of sense. But this keeps happening throughout the comic book series, throughout the different issues, because there is another couple of examples. I can give you one. So in the third issue, Mister Miracle is on trial, and in the middle of his trial, where Orion is like the new High Father of New Genesis, Darkseid just appears out of nowhere, and it kind of creeps in completely out of nowhere. So it's almost like not a physical thing, it's just something that is emanating throughout the entire story. And even without the exact presence of Darkseid, his presence is felt. And I think what perfectly sums it up, it's almost like an infection or some sort of disease that has just spread throughout this comic, and it's not supposed to be there, but it's kind of got into the comic book. And I think it's a really interesting concept that I think they could actually pull off in such a good way in the TV show. Because imagine just like Darkseid is appearing out of nowhere, or you hear the voice out of nowhere or something like that, because it kind of builds that tension that, you know, Darkseid is somewhere and Darkseid is coming, and you feel his presence, but he's not actually there yet. So that's just such a good building block to build that tension that you have throughout this comic book series and throughout what we're going to have in this TV show. So I'm really looking forward to seeing this, and I'm very happy that Tom King is actually the showrunner, because that means he's going to keep it pretty faithful. Yes, he can make some changes and everything like that, but they can actually do a lot in terms of visuals, because I think they did a great job in the comics to actually bring this to life. Now, talking of visuals, we do have a first look at this Mister Miracle show, and that is in fact the official title. I would love if the title was Darkseid Is. I just think that would be great. But anyway, you can see on the screen right here, this is the kind of image that we've got. You've got Mister Miracle and Big Barda, husband and wife, suited up. It looks quite tranquil, quite bright. It's very sunny. It's kind of like at a sunset. I love this image. It's very optimistic and it doesn't really give you a good idea of what's actually going to happen. But what does give you a better idea of what is happening is the kind of glitch lines that you see in the image. Like something is there underneath. Could that be Darkseid? Could it be something else? But something is distorting their reality and even distorting the first image that we see of this show. And I'm really liking what we're seeing. So let me know down in the comments below, are you excited for this show? Because it's going to be definitely something quite different from the other animated shows. I feel like this is the one that I'm really looking forward to. I do love the new gods, I love anything Darkseid, and Mister Miracle is a great character himself. So that about does it for this video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave a like and a comment and subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future videos. And you can click on the top right corner of the screen to watch my latest video. But for now, I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.